So there we go.
Yeah, you're recording and I can leave now because it warns me that I can leave if I want to.
Well, if you don't want to be recorded, you have to leave. So let's open Dropbox. Everybody see Dropbox?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And we can start at the top there, Al. Open this up. And there we are. Everybody see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Okay.
got it.
That turns out to be a niece of my wife or a niece-in-law, but the primary reason I included this picture, and the other one is the same picture. This was done strictly in Lightroom with the new masking features of Lightroom.
Excellent.
And if you look at the hair and all, it didn't get darkened. I darkened the background by reducing the exposure of the background by 8 f-stops. So that's why it's black.
Yeah. Very nice.
And then I tweaked the foreground, but it was all done in Lightroom. There's nothing done in any other application. And the recent new masking tools they have in Lightroom is fantastic.
Yeah, I've been kind of talking that up in the last couple of meetings, but
Well, I've had on my Wednesday group, I've spent the last 2 weeks on it.
yeah. I mean, it used to be known as like what the adjustment brush.
Yeah.
And now it's flipped over, so you get masking by subject. You can select the sky. You can do linear gradients, radial gradients, brush. And I'm not sure if there's another one in there. There's one other one,
Yeah,
but they work really well.
they are fantastic.
And what I think what you probably did here was you did a select by subject, and it pulled your niece out or niece-in-law and masked her, and then you probably did an invert.
That's
and,
correct.
Shaded everything down in the background.
Well, and you can only lower the exposure by 4 f-stops. So what I did was copy the inverted one and duplicated that mask, and that gave me 4 another 4
8.
f-stops. So it
Yeah.
gave me a total of 8. And basically, even the stuff that was very white in the background couldn't stand 8 f-stops of reduction.
Yeah. Well, it's a testament to the usefulness of that or that masking in Lightroom now.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic, but it doesn't do everything.
No.
And the next picture will demonstrate that. Same picture, obviously.
Yep.
But now I'm in Photoshop. And I did a subject selection there, which I believe, I can't guarantee you this, but I believe it's been improved greatly over previous editions. And I'm sure it uses the same engine as the subject selection in Lightroom.
Yeah.
And I did that. And then I duplicated the layer and blurred the underlying layer and let that come through. The fact that I was using layers says I can't do this in Lightroom.
Right.
But there, instead of a black background, I have a completely blurred, I mean, this is 100% blur of the background.
Yeah.
And
looks
that
great.
cannot be done that way in Lightroom.
Yeah.
Did we look at our hair on the first one again, Steve?
Sure can.
I want to look at her hair again.
Oh,
Yeah, so there's quite a bit of difference, especially on the right side.
Yep.
Yeah.
On my right side, if you look at her hair there, you can see a couple strands there, and then if you go to the next one, and you see a lot more hair there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Well, the hair is there, I think. I can't do.
Yeah.
I did
Okay, it
something.
kind of
I
misses
did
this
something else. in
Yeah, I missed that
Photoshop
out, that lighter
can't do
here.
in
Yeah.
Lightroom.
right
I
there.
actually went in and modified the mask after I created the mask in Photoshop and brought out that hair part.
Okay,
So I was able to refine the hair. You've got the refined hair components in Photoshop that you don't have in Lightroom.
right.
Okay.
So while Lightroom is fantastic for really fine detail, Photoshop is still better. And part of it is what I just said, but part of it is the fact that you can use layers in Photoshop and cannot, and I don't think ever will, because it's not the purpose of Lightroom.
No.
And they sell them together, so there's no point in making
Yeah.
Lightroom do everything Photoshop can do.
Right.
But what's good about Lightroom is you can do, let's say, 70 or 80% of what you would have done in Photoshop beforehand. And sometimes that's more than enough to tweak your pictures. So I notice in this one, if you look at the skin tones between these two, these are a little oranger. I'm
And
not sure.
and that is not a difference between Lightroom and Photoshop, I don't think. I think that's a difference in the guy that did it. And if I was to do it again,
Okay.
I think I could make the Photoshop one look closer to the Lightroom one.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's got more of a reflection on her chin in this one
yeah.
than the
Yeah.
other one.
Well,
Yeah,
I
this-
actually
this
went,
is
I
softer.
actually went in and
Yeah,
used the
softer,
brush
yeah.
tool to tone down that chin in this
Oh,
one.
yeah. Okay.
And I could have done that in the other one.
All right.
The both of these were used in demonstrations in my Wednesday class.
Thank you, Ralph. Want to go to the next one?
Yeah, I just kind of like the picture.
That is a look. I'll say
Nice.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
By the
Really?
way,
It's really good.
that also was done exclusively in Lightroom, and I was using the subject select tool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
The face, the emu was backlit, so I needed to bring out the emu. I
Yeah.
didn't do anything with the background. I didn't have to do anything with the background. It was naturally blurred because it was close and the background was far away.
Yeah, but that's
But,
an excellent portrait.
Yeah.
But
I hope it wasn't a wide angle lens.
but anyway, I just got him. Yeah, he was pretty close.
Yeah.
I also used the brush tool to brighten up the eyes.
Okay.
Very nice. Very
Excellent.
nice.
Excellent.
We'll pop to your next one here. I really love that. That's a great picture, Al.
It sure is.
Attitude.
Yes. So you're just lucky they're not 12 feet tall and weigh 700 pounds.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Right. I went, the camera club was asked for volunteers to photograph at the San Miguel Festival. And I did, and I took this picture of a young man playing the guitar, and I just took his hands,
Very
the
nice.
guitar itself. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, but it's really good.
The composition's great, the way you've handled the
Yeah.
background, the detail in the photograph. I mean, the main focus is on his right hand, but
Yeah.
the left hand's a little softer and a little farther away. But yes, it's an excellent photograph.
Excellent composition. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did two things affecting the composition. I cropped a little bit of the left-hand side off, and then there was a hat that just kind of came over the edge. And looking at my screen now, I didn't do a very good job of cropping off that hat, and I need to redo that.
So that's a microphone just in the bottom right-hand side.
Yep.
I debated about that microphone, and I decided that it's part of it.
Yes, it is.
And so I decided to leave it.
Okay.
It would have been a good picture without it. And in fact, without it, I could have cropped in a little bit more on the right and made a square format. But I kind of liked the microphone in because it was part of what he was doing.
What's part of the story? Yes.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
It's a good color palette too, because the background blends in. I think, well, I should say it complements the darker blues up here on the left.
Yeah.
Did you try this in black and white? No.
You know, it's strange that I didn't, because I like black and white, but
I think that would look really cool. Black and white.
I may try that. If it works, I'll show it next week. No, I won't. Or will we be on next week?
Well, that'll be up to Sandy, I think.
Is he going to be back?
He's supposed to be back Wednesday,
Okay.
from what he told us 2 months ago. So
Well,
we'll
things can
wait and
change in 2
see.
months, but he sent some pretty good pictures from over there.
Yeah.
Where has he been hiding them? Because I haven't seen him.
Italy.
Well,
No, I
I've
mean-
got I'm friends of his on Facebook, and I've seen him on Facebook.
Oh, okay. He's on
Okay.
FB. Okay. He's on Facebook. All right.
Oh, that's nice.
And
Yes,
this
it
is
is.
also at that festival. And these young ladies, they were having fun. And I've got 50 pictures of these girls
Yeah.
in various situations. It was hard to pick out just one, but I liked the 4 of them in unison.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of movement.
Oh, yeah. Lovely
Yeah.
colors.
Yeah, and it was a
The colors.
relatively slow shutter speed.
Yes.
And so there's a little motion blur, which I think it works pretty good.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
A comment on the Lightroom masking. I masked the sky so I could darken it, and the upper right-hand corner where the sky is, it didn't pick it up at all. And I never did get that satisfactory. If I hadn't pointed out, you guys might not have noticed.
I mean, up here.
Yeah. It did
I
not
thought
reveal
it was
that
part of
sky.
the build. I thought it was part of the building now.
I did too. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought otherwise.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I was able to, with the brush tool, I was able to quickly, because I did it this morning. I also tried to treat this same picture. It was late in the afternoon, but it wasn't quite late enough to be in the sundown area. But I tried to apply a sundown picture from one of the outside applications, And it just didn't work for me, so I didn't show it.
Well, what you have here works really nicely.
Really nice. Yeah, very good.
Any other comments? Okay, then Alan, we're on to you.
Oh, already. Okay.
Well,
Okay, you're
Alan, it's good to have
Thank you.
names that start with an A.
Absolutely.
Up to Photoshop. Okay, hold on.
It's a PSD.
Oh,
That's okay, I'm opening Photoshop.
wonder what happened there.
Now, let's see if this works the same way it does all the other times. All right, not obvious, obviously not for me, so
So let's not worry about it, Steve. I just
that's
put these,
okay. I'm gonna grab this and drag it down to,
put this lot together very quickly. We just moved down here a few days ago, so lots of things to do here.
okay. Just see if I could drag it over to my desktop real quick and then drop it into Photoshop and share the screen. So. Maybe I can just tell it to open it with Photoshop. There we go. Ah, gee, use my brain for something other than keeping my ears apart.
Don't see anything.
Yeah,
I haven't shared it yet.
Oh, okay, all right.
That's why we don't
So,
see anything, I
A
found.
new share would be this one.
Oh, there we go. I don't know if it was even worth doing.
Is that visible?
It is.
oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just obviously it's just the name of the name of an old truck, a really
Yeah.
old truck. No idea what it is, but I love the colors in it. And I don't know. Maybe one of you guys used to have one of these.
I had an international harvester travel, which was like combination. It was like a giant SUV back in the day. But
It's
this
an
one,
old-
this one had been used as an ambulance at a horse race track back in Ohio. And I drove that from Ohio to California.
Oh, geez.
It was painted white and gold. And at the time, I think the Arizona State Highway Patrol cars were painted white and gold. So I was in Arizona, obviously, and driving down the road, just happy as, I'll get out. And there was a guy in front of me that slowed down really slow, and I passed him. And as I passed him, he kind of looked at me and like, and I pulled into a gas station, probably 5 miles down the road. He pulled in behind me. He said, "Man, you scared me to death." Because it still had the lights and stuff on it too. So
Oh, jeez.
You could have made a few dollars.
I could have, yes. That'll be $50 for that. Yeah. But we had a good laugh.
Anyways, just
Yeah,
like the colors and this.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do like the colors. Yeah, I agree with you, Alan.
And the textures too.
Textures,
Texture.
Yes.
the rust.
It hadn't been polished in a while.
No.
Probably never been polished.
No, looked like it'd been sandpapered.
Yeah. No, the name International, it occupies a place in my heart, Alan. Thank you.
There you go. I'm sure it's for sale if you want it.
No, I'm not into antique rust buckets, so we'll just. All right.
Yeah, let's go to the next one. Sorry to put you through to a lot of trouble.
Oh, no, it's no trouble. It's just me trying to get my act together. There we go. Here we go. Ah,
Ooh, nice.
Oh, oh, wow.
So this is from the same place where the truck was. Just an old piece of, I think it's some kind of harvester thing.
yeah.
I'm not quite sure what it does, but it's got what the show looks really dark there. Is that dark in your screen?
What's that?
The image looks very dark for some reason.
It's just very, very colorful to me, but
Yeah.
Yeah, the perimeter's dark.
Yeah,
Yes.
it looks.
Up around
I
here.
darkened the sky a little bit because it was a little bit too bright.
Yeah,
Anyway, again, same conversations what we had before. After taking it into Topaz and putting it through a couple of these filters, all these colors just seemed to. I mean, it was all rusty. It wasn't vibrant as what you see there, but I loved all the blues and oranges, and they just all come out after this. You ran it through these filters, so.
well, I'm doing a little free association here, Alan. When I first saw this picture, it for some reason triggered an idea that this was associated with Ray Bradbury's book, Something Wicked This Way Comes. So,
Oh, I remember that book. Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, it's a cool piece of equipment. It's got a big clutch up at the or brake up at the top left-hand corner.
yeah.
So
Wow.
Where was this, Alan?
this is in an old farm just south of Calgary.
Okay.
We just it's a kind of they just have a lot of old equipment lying around and
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Look at the old chain. That thing is amazing.
oh it's it's can you imagine this thing going? Holy smokes, that'd be a pretty dangerous place
Yeah.
to be around.
Yeah.
Dangerous and loud.
Yes.
Yeah. So some kind of harvester thing, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe for
It
wheat.
doesn't look very portable.
No.
Yeah, I used to work with some of those when I was a
Did you?
kid,
Oh. So with this being,
and they were not portable.
No, it wouldn't look portable. It's, yeah.
I can't quite place exactly what that is, but
Yeah.
Well, I would have to say some kind of stationary combine harvester thing. I don't. That's probably not the right term, but
well, I didn't really work with them. I was too young, but I was present when they were being worked,
okay.
at least, and I've been next to wheat threshers, and they would bring, you'd cut wheat like it was hay, and then you'd bring the wheat and the wheat stems and all, toss it in, and it would thresh them out.
Yeah.
But you would haul the wheat up to it.
Yes.
And then I've also been with stationary hay balers, and you bring the loose hay up to it and dump it in the hopper, and it would do the bales. And if I recall, I was about 8 or 9 when I was with the hay baler. If I recall, it took about 6 people to run that hay baler.
Wow.
And it was wire tied, and the wires had to be hand tied, and you had to have people on both ends stringing the wires between the dividers of the bales.
Wow.
Well, this could have been that because it looks like it's got lots of power in there. So
Yeah.
And in both cases, they were run by tractors that weren't much more than stable, but they were run by off of steam tractors with belts.
Yep.
Good.
It's a very interesting picture.
Yeah, I love the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Brings
just
back memories.
love the colors.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go, trucks and balers. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Topaz is magical. Go to the next one.
Sure.
Oh, I see him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, nice.
Now we were out in a photo shoot with the camera club up in Calgary, and we were just taking some night shots of downtown Calgary. And one of the guys that had organized this had put this effect onto one of his images, and I was just blown away with it. I loved it. So I did it on mine just to see how it would work. And it's a really, obviously, it starts off with a really sharp image, but you take it into Photoshop and you put the blur effect on it.
Oh, really? Wow.
Hmm.
I
Oh,
thought this was intentional camera movement.
So did I. I thought it was an ICM image. Yeah.
Well, if you look at it closer, you'll see that towards the top of the buildings, it's actually not blurred. It's only blurred from the bottom.
yeah.
Now, I didn't do, I probably needed some of Sandy's help in this, and he wasn't around, but I wanted to get it even sharper at the top. So I had a mask layer on it that would try and prevent the blurring to go further than the top of the buildings.
Well, that's a really nice effect that you achieved in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really like it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Maybe a gradient mask would do that.
Gradient. No, it wasn't a gradient mask. It wasn't a gradient mask. I did have a gradient mask on there. Yeah, I did that. But it was one of the blurring effects. I forget which one it's called. But anyway, that's
turned out nicely.
Thanks. I darkened the sky a little bit on it as well, just to emphasize it.
Yeah, it gives it a little bit more impact, I think.
It might have been, I don't know, the images for some reason are looking a little dark on my screen here. I'm not sure why. But anyway, it looks, I think it could have stood, when I'm looking at this, it could stand with brightening up a little bit. It's a little bit too dark.
I could go try to brighten my screen, but I'm not sure. What that would do.
Anyway, so that's, yeah, that was that one.
Here, I'm just looking at.
That's a bit, so.
Oh, brightness. No, it's not going to help. Brightness is at 100% on mine. So.
Okay, doesn't matter. Yeah, because it would just affect your individual screen.
Could be, yeah.
Hey, we're good to go to the next one when you want.
Okay, I got to kill this on my. There we go. Here we are. Ah, you are down here.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Took this yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
Out in the backyard.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
The cactus wren paid you a visit to say hi ho.
Yeah.
Well, it's a kind of iconic little bird for here, isn't it? So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in. Actually, I just, I sent this up to the guys up in Canada, so that they could see some sunshine.
It's snowing up
this-
there.
Will this hold
Are they-
until next
They
year?
they get lots of sunshine. It's not, don't worry about that. It's just a
I
little bit.
Now, if it was Michigan, I'd say yes, they probably could use a nice picture like this, right?
Exactly. Michigan, Indiana, yep.
They certainly don't have cactus up there, so.
No, well, they might, because cactus grow pretty
Well,
far north.
yeah.
They just require a certain specific environment.
Yeah, in the lower southeastern part of Alberta, there's probably cactus
Yeah.
there. There's certainly
Yeah.
rattlesnakes here, so.
Yeah.
Good. I just thought I'd throw that in. Like to see
I
that.
think, Kim, I can remember in Ohio that the sun would disappear. It seemed like for months at a time. You'd say, "Oh God, what is that orange ball in the sky?"
Exactly. You did a happy dance when you saw the sun, even if it was for just 10 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, and the last one. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, this is from a few weeks ago again, so
Oh, mushroom. Okay, that's what it was.
Oh.
Okay.
yeah, magic mushrooms.
Yeah, I thought it was ladies' hats for a little while.
Yeah.
It's just multiple shots of blended together again, that kind of effect that I was
Yeah.
doing with the trees. So I had done this a few weeks ago when I was all into that type of thing. And these are little ornaments, glass ornaments. And,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and then they're just all maybe 3 or 4 images all blended together.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
It's a kind of interesting looking thing.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Bowman's not here. Mr. Bowman? No? Okay. Maybe we should just skip over his and see if he shows up. So we'll go to you, Mr. Murphy.
All right, let her rip.
Oh,
Oh,
I like the effect you put on this one.
oh
Jane.
yeah.
So I went to the All Souls procession, which was a shadow of its former self. And I didn't get a lot of pictures, but I got a few. So this is one that I turned into a black and white. It was a young teenage girl. Originally, I took her and her partner together, but just zeroed in on this one. And I worked on the eyes quite a bit.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh,
Awesome.
that's amazing.
Yes.
What lens did you use for that? Yeah. Jim?
I was using my, what was it? 70 to 200.
Okay.
And I think I was at 200 when I took it.
That's,
But I was standing back a little ways.
love
Now,
it.
did you mask the eyes and then apply I should say, an effect,
What I did,
texture effect to the face?
yeah, I did a bunch. I think I did it. I did the eyes in Lightroom, and I think I used the radial tool.
Yeah.
And so those reflections were kind of there like that. And then, but I just really wanted to bring out a little more detail in the iris. So I played with contrast and whites and blacks and so forth to just get a little more iris detail in there. And then I don't remember, obviously there's some kind of a topaz effect on this. I don't remember what it is. I just don't remember.
It looks like oil paint, but I'm not sure.
Something like that, or subtle
Charcoal sketch.
squiggly or something. Yeah.
Squiggly, yeah. Smooth squiggly or something, yes.
Yeah.
But it really brings out the eyes.
Yeah, that's what I was going. I was going for the. I really zeroed in on the eyes.
Yeah.
There was just kind of a look in the eye that I kind of like that look. So
Yes,
I tried to enhance it.
very
You
nice.
can go to the next one. Uh-oh, yeah. That one, I don't know, it's kind of grainy. I don't really like it that much. She was black backlit.
Mhm.
And so that's what kind of attracted to me to her was the backlighting on her hair. And I think I kind of overdid the effect or whatever on it. And then I painted her eyes out.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a little arresting.
Yeah. So, yeah. All
Now,
right,
see,
we can-
I thought for a minute that maybe she had, done her eyelids all black and she was
That's
just,
yeah.
closing them, but yes.
I was on an eye thing, so I just painted them out. Yeah, I said, all right, you can pop on to the next one.
Okay.
And of course, I borrowed this idea from Steve, so he better like it because.
I love it. And I'm going to ask, have you seen any of the series on Netflix called Dark?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Because they open up every episode with it's a video effect, but they do the split screen stuff. And this reminds me so much of that. It's beautiful. Well
Yes.
done.
She had this gigantic, and when I say gigantic, it was huge, this huge hat on, and she was just a character, this little tiny baby doll thing. And so I asked her if I could take her picture, and she started shuffling her feet around and acting real shy, but of course she wasn't. And she was a real character.
Yeah. It's really well done, James. Very
Wow.
nice.
Yeah.
Mirror image deal. So yeah.
Yeah. So you did a mirror image and then you did a blending of two images together?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, we can pop on to the next one.
Oh,
here.
now I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, two faces.
Yeah,
Either
it
side, yeah.
took me a few minutes to
Oh,
focus see the face. I was seeing the hands and
Yes.
Mhm.
the other shape. I didn't realize it was a face till just now.
yeah.
Great effect.
Wow.
I
I'm
knew Steve
impressed.
would like it.
I am impressed.
Yeah, there you go.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yes. I think
Yeah,
really this you could hang this someplace. That would be a good idea.
I read this book of photographer quotes on 100 greatest quotes or something. I remember one of the quotes was, if your photos are boring, try standing in front of something that's a little more interesting. So
That's great advice.
yeah, it is. So these people were all just not boring. So
Yes.
I guess she wasn't too talkative.
yeah. No.
Man, the amount of time that must take to do some of this makeup.
Well, you look at all those jewels and
Yeah.
things
Yeah,
that
the stucco,
are
yeah.
on there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
So,
Now, what did you do with the eyes here?
I just painted them out again.
Oh, okay.
Well, instead of painting them out black, I painted them out white this time.
Yes. Well, I can do that effect naturally. I can
Yeah.
roll them all the way up. So,
All right, you can pop on to the next one, I guess. Can't wait to see what I'm showing.
ah,
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like this one. I actually, those other ones I spent very little time on. I spent a lot of time on this one. And I don't know, I did a lot of stuff to this, so I just kind of got into it. Again, I worked on the eyes quite a bit, but there wasn't much detail in the iris. So I just worked around the eye a lot to bring out skin texture and so forth there. And then there's a couple layers on there, textures and so forth.
did you
Yeah,
work this in Photoshop?
I did a lot of this. I did a lot in Lightroom and some in Photoshop, and I did some in what's called Anthropics.
Well, I love the texture around the eyes too, and the color differentiation that you've got. It's quite striking.
Yeah, I took away a lot of the saturation. Was very, you know, it was quite saturated, and I reduced it down quite a bit, make it the colors a little bit softer and more subtle, and then kept it dark around the eyes where there's more detail there, and took the detail out of the rest of the pretty much the rest of the face. So I don't know. I just started going, and I didn't really have an end point or a goal, and I just kept going and going and going. And finally said, I quit.
And the background is a texture layer, I assume?
Yeah, there's a couple texture layers there.
Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was fun. I had fun. That's what counts, right?
Yep, that's it.
It's a big part of it.
Yeah. All right, on to the next
Oh,
one. If there is a
wow.
next one, I don't know if there is a next one.
Now, this is the next one, I think.
Oh, yeah, there is a next one. Okay,
That's this one right here. So yes.
Yeah. there we go.
Wow.
Basically, I just did a lot of sharpening on this, is about all I did. And I think a little vignette and sharpening, that's about it. So I didn't do a lot of work on this one.
The background was actually in the photo.
The background was in the photo, which was really nice. So I'm sort of lazy, and if I can get a good background, I'll go for it, and then I don't have to, you know, create my own. So.
And I'm assuming this is somebody that's a very COVID aware person.
I don't know, but I like her teeth. I'll say that. Teeth and eyes, yeah.
It looks like she's taken her mask and done it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was on a kind of a movable float thing with this big background behind her, and on a, I think, kind of a bicycle situation where she propelled the thing.
Wow.
So,
Another really good shot.
yeah.
And I think you using the effect that you used on it brings it out even more.
Yeah. I think I might have used some of that HDR in Topaz.
Yeah.
Good grouping, really.
All right. Yeah. That's All Souls Procession. There you go.
Was that last week? Was that last week, that parade?
It was, when was it?
Sunday.
Last Sunday.
Last Sunday,
Sunday.
right? Yeah.
Yes. Well, Kim, we'll go on to yours.
All right. See what we got here. This was Dia de los Muertos down at Tumacapri.
Yes.
And
Oh,
just the light that was provided by the candles. I had to take a lot of noise out. Everything was handheld. But I liked it. It's nothing fancy. It just at the end in the mission, you know, how there's a difference in the plaster and everything at the very end behind that altar, and it just made me think that there were like ghosts or something above this guy.
Either ghosts or hooded monks or.
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a great effect.
So I just, other than cropping it, taking it into Topaz to really get the noise out of it and adding a little detail and everything, I didn't do a whole lot else to this.
What shutter speed were you at here?
You know, I didn't write it down, so I don't know
Okay.
off the top of my head.
Well, it had to be fast enough to capture the person there
Right.
without a lot of movement.
And yeah, it would have been relatively fast because I don't handhold well to keep things steady.
But great effect.
Thanks.
It's quite spooky for this, you know, it's like, it could be Day of the Dead or even Halloween at that point.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You can go to the next. Same place.
Okay.
the two women in the foreground, I blurred more. They were a little bit sharper. So I cropped in on them a little bit because the young girl in red had some sort of lit toy or something in her hand. So I wanted to get that out of there. So cropped in on them, but I wanted to leave them to make them ghost-like, or at least a blurred image. And then you can see the guy walking toward me that's got a mask on.
Yes.
And again, just into topaz to denoise it again, and kind of, like I said, blur those two women.
Well, I think you did a good job hand holding and shooting with candlelight.
Thanks.
Yeah, not easy.
It was an experiment. Having never been down there before, I had no clue what things were going to be like.
Yeah.
So
I think from talking to the rangers down, I think this one was probably a little bit more subdued than previous ones, but I don't think they had one at all last year. So
yeah, I don't recall hearing about it. Yeah.
And there was another festival that they just postponed again down at Tumakakari.
Oh, really?
So maybe next year we'll get to see that.
Uh-huh.
But well done.
Thanks. You may go on. And then I went out to the Cowboy Festival last Sunday. And this were I was taking pictures of the cavalry riders as they were going through their little drills. So what I did with this is, again, took it into topaz and then did the focal blur to kind of soften the people in the background a bit.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was kind of I took a lot of pictures, got rid of a lot of them, but I was, happy that I got the horse pretty sharp and in motion as he's going over that little barrier.
I like the precise point that you have it.
Yes.
That's a good point in the jump.
Yeah.
And it's not the easiest thing in the world to get an action shot like this. It's
And you may go on. This little girl just fascinated me.
Yeah.
She was so cute. And I think she was a family member of one of the riders, or of the group that these riders were with. So I just liked this grouping of the three of them.
Yeah.
It is kind of a lovely family picture.
Yeah.
And other than bringing up the brightness and contrast a little bit, the colors otherwise, this is kind of right out of the camera.
And this is the horse that was painted up to look like a skeleton. So,
yes.
Oh,
Yeah. You can see it on its leg and one fore.
okay.
It's great composition and a very endearing moment, I think. Yeah.
And then there should be one more.
Yes.
And again,
Yeah.
I love this one.
and again, other than just bringing up the contrast, the brightness and contrast a little bit for the colors, I cropped in, straightened it out a little bit and cropped in. This is, these were the colors. I just enhanced them a little because of the sun was so bright.
I'm wondering what this would look like in black and white.
Yeah, I may have to give that a shot. Let's see what it does. She had, you might have, I don't know if you could see it in the other picture, but she had jewels on one side of her face by an eye.
Yeah.
She was just really cute.
Yep. So yes, it's another great shot, I think.
That's it.
All right, very nice.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. So we'll move on to my strangeness, I guess. And Al, this was just using the masks in Lightroom again, selectively with a brush and actually subject mask and then a few other things. But this was all just terracotta.
Oh, and you made the blue and everything?
So the blue was added in Lightroom by using a mask, masking it off, and then changing the saturation and luminance in that particular color.
Cool.
So it is quite a useful tool. And then again, it was inverted in the background, which this was hanging on a wall down at Tubac. So the masks were then inverted and the background taken down to black.
So is there any limit to how many masks you can have?
No, not that I know of.
Steve
You can-
Koskowski said this was the best improvement of Lightroom that there has ever been.
Yeah, for quite a few years. Yes.
Well, it's been around for 17 years. He said
Yes.
since it started, this was the biggest jump he's seen.
Yes.
And there's been some big jumps.
Yeah, there have been. I think this was a backyard reflection in a pan of water.
Oh, neat.
Oh,
Wow.
The exposure was probably over about 30 seconds, I think, is what it registered on my camera. But again, I did this one with a little light painting. So camera's on a tripod, shutter release has been clicked, and then I've got a flashlight in one hand that I lit up the statue a little bit intermittently throughout the exposure.
Nice. Very
So
nice.
a couple bright little clicks.
yeah.
The only way I could focus was I had to have these LED candles, and I had to use those as my focal point because otherwise you're just looking into a black pan and you can't see anything. So, and this is fire.
Oh,
That's all it was. Taken into Topaz, of course, and kicked around in there a little bit, but it is just pretty much a campfire.
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Did you turn it on its side, or is that the orientation of the flames?
That was the orientation of the flame.
Okay.
It was building up. Yes, it was running up. And this is another experiment with reflectivity. This image was actually on my computer screen. And that's a cup of coffee sitting just below my computer screen.
Oh,
And this is
Very clever.
this is an iPhone photo because my camera said, no, I don't know what you want me to focus on, but I can't find anything in this picture that would allow me to focus.
Wow.
that is
So,
cool.
so where was the reflection? What was that reflection of?
Well, there was a coffee cup sitting right below my computer screen, and the image was on the computer
On
screen.
the computer screen. Cool.
Yes.
Really?
So what you're seeing is me shooting down into the coffee cup. Yes. I thought it was just a strange little effect. I wanted to see if it was possible, so it was. And,
Well, to get that kind of reflection on something that's, coffee being relatively dark,
yes.
that's amazing.
Yeah. And the girl or person is right side up. I'd
Yes.
expect it to be upside down.
Well, that's because I flipped her image on screen
Oh, okay.
just to mess with your mind.
Yeah.
Right?
You didn't tell us that.
No. But so this was a picture.
He figured you could figure it out, Linda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a rendering And so it was in
Oh,
graphic format. I just flipped the graphic around. So
okay.
I like it.
Yeah.
and it's just playing around. So,
Yeah.
and this is one fever dream. That's what I call this one, just
Oh, yeah.
fever dream. It's actually a reflection in a window. The basic part, the bottom and the right-hand side, and the little glitch up here in the left corner. Then I took it into Topaz. Oh wait, I took it into Luminar first, and did a sky replacement. There was just a blue background here, so I just picked out one of the skies in their menu there and added it in here, which also more or less gave me the effect of something being down here in the foreground, right in the middle of the picture. But again, that was just because of the reflectivity in the window. So
Nice color palette.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's just a nice sunny day and a window reflecting some trees and bushes outside. So, and that was my strangeness for the week. We'll pop to yours, Wendell.
Okay. Well, mine are pretty tame compared to what you just showed us. But this is some more mining through the archives of a trip to Turkey 10 years ago. And this is one I liked. It was in a bizarre market selling spices and teas and so forth. And I just liked all the colors and the
Wow.
triangles, the little patterns of all these little piles.
Yeah.
I would have liked to gotten the signs out of it, but that would have messed it up to try to get those
I kind of
out.
like the signs in it too. So
Yeah. Well, it's interesting reading them, like the relaxed tea, Turkish tea. But anyway, these
Well,
markets
what-
in
That was in Turkey.
Turkey, yeah, in Istanbul.
Okay. And they have all their signs in English, so they must get a lot
Yeah.
of international
Yes,
business
I
there.
think-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the, I guess, a famous bazaar there in the city. But anyways, these foreign countries have these very interesting markets with
Yes.
things like this that probably the health departments wouldn't allow here. But it's interesting to see over there.
Yeah. I'm sure just a little money changes hands there. So whoever's,
Yeah. Yeah, they go for the aesthetics rather than
yeah.
sanitation, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, you go to the next one if you're ready.
Ah,
Okay, this was in a ceramics or pottery shop that made these very intricate vases and things, as you can see. And the picture originally was a nice documentary of this guy working on the very fine detail on this vase, I guess you'd call it. But I was looking for something that kind of looked like the old Dutch masters type of paintings
Yeah.
that showed everyday scenes of people doing things. So I did preliminary in Photoshop, but then Topaz in the artistic grouping, the oil painting one option provided what I really had in mind on the color and the just general treatment of everything.
Yeah.
But it did leave a lot of the detail on the vase he's working on visible, not to the
Yeah.
detail of the original, but showed how complex it is. So,
it really does look like a painting.
Yeah, it does.
yeah, mhm. Yeah, and that's for a one-step solution that worked very well.
Yeah.
the,
And I love,
the documentary aspect of this is a good demonstration of just how labor intensive those vases are.
Yes, yeah, that's what I used it in the slideshow I made for the trip, had the documentary one, but this one I was looking for something a little different. One thing I liked.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I liked the composition of the kind of triangular shape
Yeah.
from the top of his head spreading out to his arms. And that seems to be a classical format in paintings, the triangle.
Yeah.
I like the fact that there's another vase on the shelf back there too.
Yes. Yeah, that some of the stuff he'd finished was sitting back there. And
Yeah.
I did have to fuss with that bench or that shelf behind him. I selected that out and darkened it and blurred it a little bit so it
Yeah.
wouldn't, it's obvious.
No, it's not noticeable when.
Yeah, it was a little bit when it was pretty sharp. That's,
All Let's go to the next one.
yeah, if you're ready. This is one like someone had shown a couple of weeks ago, some of those homes and churches and so forth that were carved into the soft rock.
Yeah.
There in
Yes.
Cappadocia. And this is the town of, actually a park in Gourmet. But they preserved a lot of these buildings, and I just thought it was kind of an impressive
Yes.
pile of rock there. But it's otherwise pretty straight Photoshop touch up, not much done to it.
Now, I think you, for the humor of this, Wendell, I think you should put a satellite dish on top of the dome. Yeah, and
Well-
one of your old rusty trucks on blocks
Well-
sitting in the front yard. Yeah.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I've been envious of Maureen's school bus in the pond
Yeah.
what she did last week. And I hadn't even thought of doing that with this. Yeah, I could have had an old truck or something down in that lower left corner opening, the grill of a truck sticking out or something. Yeah, Maybe a
Yeah,
Santa-
over here on the left, like a garage. Yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah.
would work. Yeah.
One up at the top, I could have a Santa Claus statue or something in there. Well, I should have thought more about being weird on this one.
No, it's a lovely picture. I was just saying for a humorous effect, you could go ahead and do something like that.
Well, wait till next week.
But, I find it fascinating that from a documentary standpoint, that
Yeah.
people have done this. And
Yeah. Yeah, it is. But just they made do with what they had.
yes.
Okay.
So how long ago did people live in there?
I'm not sure. These go back a long ways, though. But as I mentioned on some of the others, we actually got to go into a home that people were living in,
Oh, wow.
and they had it fairly nice inside, kind of like being in an adobe house.
Yeah.
But it was comfortable. And all. So some of them are being used. These particular ones are in the national parks, so they're not occupied, but I'm guessing they've been there centuries. Anyway, you go to the next one if you're ready.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
These are some tombs that the rock has been carved to create these facades. And then I think probably the little dark hole that you see in the middle of them is probably where the coffin or whatever they put the body into was probably in there, but they went to all the trouble of carving out the rock to create these images.
Wow.
Quite large too, because this is, maybe the cliff is maybe a couple 100 feet back from where I was.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
this
Or
is
if
a,
the, I don't know if those are entrances down at the base of the middle, I should say the largest
Yep.
one there on the
Yep.
right. But if
Yeah.
those are entrances, you can kind of get a sense of the scale of these things.
yeah, yeah, I think they probably are pretty much door size.
Yeah, they're huge.
Yeah.
And now this was done pretty much straightforward in Photoshop, but I was able to use the Topaz hummingbird wings at a 50%, which seemed to bring out some of the color in those rather
Yeah.
orange colored
Yes.
ones that made those jump out a little bit more without affecting other things. I looked at some other options, but the grass in the foreground didn't look real. So I found that hummingbird wing was a kind of subtle adjustment to it that I liked.
Yeah, well, I like the different layers you have here too, with the grass in the
Yep.
foreground and then,
Yep.
falling off to the foliage in the middle
I'll-
ground.
I love that grass in the foreground.
Yeah, it was
That's great.
pretty. Yeah. I really did want to get that in the picture just because it was so nice. Okay, I guess you could go on to the last one.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, this is, we took a 4-day trip on a gullet, I guess is how they pronounce it, a little sailing ship. And this is on the south, off the south coast of Turkey. Then we were sailing toward what looks like a rainstorm. And the color is kind of yellowish up in the clouds, but otherwise almost a black and white on its own.
Yeah.
So I just went ahead and made it black and white. And
Nice image.
Yes.
yeah, thank you. But this was a combination of Lightroom and Photoshop, and just adjusting the light and dark to
Yeah.
get a little detail at the
Yeah.
rigging and on the hill to the right. But
I like that.
that's most of what I did. to
I
it.
mean, it's the composition I like because of the structure here, on the left-hand side.
Yeah, the
Balances this one outcropping here on the right-hand side.
yes, yeah.
You just kind of weave your way into the picture.
Right. Yeah. It just funnels you in there. Yeah. Yeah. That was the composition thing that I did like about it.
Yeah.
Wendell, what was that word again? I'd never heard that word, gullet, or whatever you said.
Oh.
What was that? How do you spell that?
Gulet.
Gulet.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a traditional Turkish boat. I suppose they used them originally commerce, but it did have enough bunks for 13 of us plus the crew. So it was a fair-sized ship. I don't know, 40 some feet long at least, I'd say. But I think it was probably motor powered more than sail powered, but it did have masts. That's what you see on the lines and all the ropes.
Well, Google says it's
That's my
definitely a
vocabulary
boat
word for the
type.
day, gullet.
Yeah, and Google says it's definitely a boat type.
Yeah. Did I give the pronunciation of it?
Well, I don't know. Hold on, let's see. I guess I could probably goulette or something, or
Yeah, something. Yeah. Yeah. Not a goulet or anything like
yeah.
that. Probably would make it.
Yeah, goulet.
Goulette.
Yeah. Okay.
2-masted or 3-masted wooden sailing vessel, southwestern coast of Turkey,
Yeah.
especially from towns of Bodrum.
And not only is this an artistic group, you learn a lot here too. So
There you go.
yeah.
So anyway, I think that's the last of mine.
Okay, and Mr. Bowman didn't show up, so I presume we should probably just go ahead and leave his in here and hit him next week.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to stop recording, I think. Stop share first.
You mean I can come back now?